Let's get it.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our May Champions Call. Again, I love seeing where everyone's from, and kudos to Jen for dropping that "We the Champions" gift because now it's going to be in my head for the rest of the call. But yeah, it's karaoke after this. All right, for any sort of digital or hybrid event or in person, of course, for our Microsoft, this is our event code of conduct. Again, I'm not going to go over this slide, but please be welcoming, be kind, and assisting and creating a safe environment for everyone. So if you have any questions on that, you may click on this live link at the bottom of the slide to learn more. All right, our agenda today, I have some announcements to go over. We have our usual top M365 updates. And then, of course, we have our leader, the esteemed Kara Wanagatimu, to talk to us about Copilot for Microsoft 365 Success Kit. And then we have some community events and updates to share with you all. And then our lastly, but not least, the open discussion forum. All right, now, first, we are talking about the community news desk. Caruana, did you want to do the honors?
Yes, I would love to do that. Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to see all of you. I always feel like I'm coming home when I come to this community call. Do you need me to take control? There we go. Well, I have some really big news for all of you. We have launched the Community News Desk, and the Community News Desk represents the coming together of so many of the community elements that have already been going on across Microsoft into one place that you can follow and find what the heck is going on. This is something that I'm really passionate about. So are some of my colleagues, Heather Cook and Mark Cashman, who will be curating this space on my team's behalf and on behalf of Microsoft. You should follow this. This is on the Microsoft Tech community. Follow this location, because from here you will get content like our Microsoft 365 community conference sessions, which we just dropped, and we will be dropping every Tuesday morning for the rest of the summer. You get links to our Mondays at Microsoft show that goes over all the news and announcements at Microsoft, community events and what have you, and like a Microsoft Big Rock. There's also going to be fantastic content from other people in the community, not only Microsoft leaders, but other people in our different communities in our Community Spotlight series. And it's just really exciting. Inside Microsoft, we call this the Community News Bureau because we have a studio and then our news desk. And, I'm living out a childhood fantasy of running a news agency. And so I get to do it on behalf of Microsoft and for all of you. So make sure that you follow this space. The links are here, ak.ms Community News Desk, and this way you can have just one location to find out what's going on. And you'll also be able to get to our newly renamed Microsoft Community Learning YouTube channel. This used to be called the Microsoft 365 Empower Platform channel, but there were a bunch of different YouTube channels. So with the rename of this, we're going to be over the summer bringing together these champion calls and many of the other things that were happening across the space into this one YouTube channel. So again, you can follow the news desk on the tech community, you follow Microsoft Community Learning on YouTube, and you will get all the great content. And this is the channel where we're hosting all of the Microsoft 365 conference sessions that we recorded. And, small plug for myself, my keynote is out there and it complements beautifully the other content that I'm going to go over today. So it's really exciting to have all of this in one place, trying to make the experience that you all have of finding this important information better, especially the demos and the tutorials and the trainings that come from other members of the community itself. Like Microsoft experts are great, but actual customers using stuff and talking about their experience is even better. And it gives us an opportunity to enhance the production we've been doing around all of that much more quickly. So those are two of our big announcements this morning. Of course, our Microsoft at Mondays show, Mondays at Microsoft show. We even did one yesterday on the U.S. holiday because we're that into it. And this is just a quick 30-minute live broadcast on that community learning channel on YouTube, on LinkedIn, and right there in the Community News Desk Hub. You can watch it right there. And even if you don't have a chance to actually watch the broadcast every other Monday morning, I highly recommend you follow it, though, because of all the links that we do. We do research across all of the Microsoft ecosystem, bring together the links that you need. This last Monday was a review of what was important at Build across AI, modern work, Power Platform, Dynamics 365. We do a quick section on upcoming free training events. And then we talk about something that's really big going on inside or outside Microsoft. And of course, this week it was Build. But we also had a great story on work being done in AI to support people with different sorts of abilities coming into the workplace. So it's a lot of good news, which I think we all need. So watch this to get some good news every other Monday morning. And, you know, we try to make it fun, Heather and I. So that is the thing. And yes, the conference recap. Oh, my goodness. So for those of you who didn't get to join us in Orlando, Florida for Microsoft 365 Community Conference, it was a fantastic event. And there's a wonderful recap, again, written by Mark Cashman that's out there, tons of links within that. And there was just so many of us there. It was fantastic. We are going to have this again next year in Las Vegas. Early bird registration, you can get a $150 discount when you register. I think what's most important now, however, is for those who didn't get to attend, is that we did record many of the sessions there that Microsoft gave so that we could share them with all of you. And as I mentioned on that community learning channel, we are dropping that content every week. And we had some brand new content really relevant for champions in what we call the Transform track. Corporate communicators, people really in charge of the employee experience. We did a little less technical, but a little more focused on what we really need to do to improve the employee experience in communications. And by way of that, how Microsoft Viva can help you. But I really love that we had our own Microsoft community communicators coming and sharing, how they've had to deal with the rise of AI from more of a human perspective. So I'm a big fan of that part of the content. Of course, all the technical readiness content as well. And I just want to see everybody in Vegas next May. It's not going to go for a whole month, May 6th to June 6th. No, it's actually going to be, I don't know if I can take that conference for a whole month. It's May 6th through 8th, and the discount will go from May 6th to June 6th of 2024. And so getting that pre-registration in is a great thing. I don't know that I have the stamina for all those people. There should be about 5,000 people there next time. And, I have to say that the energy of the community in person, if you can get to any event near you, is something not to be missed. And we'll talk about more of the events that are happening all around the world. I think next up for me is European ESPC that's going to be in Europe this fall. That's going to be spectacular. And so, there's something about us all being together again. This is the first conference, I think, that really felt like what it used to be before the pandemic. So really encourage folks to get to an in-person event when you can, anytime near you. Tiffany, you want to take these back?
Yep, I'll take it back. Jesse, this is your component. Did you want to?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, wonderful.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Quite a few updates in the past month on AMC adoption at Microsoft.com. If you haven't bookmarked this site, you should. It's very helpful and very valuable, and we do updates to it every week. So a lot of new stuff, actually, a lot of new sites. We have new microsites for Graph. We have new resources for Dynamics 365 role-based ones. As you all probably know, there was a new planner that launched in early April, and we have new day in the life guides for them. So that's linked directly here as well. We also have new resources for Viva Engage, and then a new site called a new microsite called How Microsoft Does IT, and this is highlighting best practices, stories of what Microsoft Digital, which is our IT organization, how they rolled out new technology, because we also use our own new technology. So like Copilot and any other thing that we've rolled out, like how we did Teams and stuff. Obviously, we're going to focus on Copilot for now, but there's some great articles there that if you haven't checked out, definitely go take a look and learn from our mistakes, but also learn from our best practices. There's a new course, a new user enablement course out there for you. If you haven't checked it out, please do. MS 4007. This is driving user enablement for Copilot. The link will take you directly there. You could get badges and trophies and share them on LinkedIn and on your profile, of course. We have added 5 new languages to the entire site. And in addition to this, we have new translations for the Microsoft Copilot Adoption Kit. So this is separate. This is not the Success Kit that we're going to be talking about a little bit later. So this is the just Microsoft Copilot, not Copilot for M365. And last but not least, of course, we have our refreshed community page. So we had a page for community before, but our wonderful community manager sat down with us to update, refresh that page with new resources and new sites and new links for you all. And as always, you can read our release notes for more details because there was way more than this here, or subscribe to the RSS feed.
Hey, thank you, Jesse. Appreciate that. And yes, definitely check out adoption.microsoft.com for all the goodness of adoption. There's way more than that. But also, quick shout out to the Microsoft community page where you can see our new refresh Microsoft Global Community Initiative page. Check out all the new regional leads that we added, as well as learn more about the initiative. And if you have an event near you that you don't see on the site or you want to get more traction on, feel free to go on there to learn more and post your event. Alrighty, for the top M365 updates, first, Teams Live events. I know we had Team Live events and the Town Halls team come on in this last January, but based on customer feedback, I want to share with everyone that Teams Live events TLE is no longer retiring September 2024 as previously announced. So you can continue using TLE, Teams Live events, a bit longer. And they just want to make sure that customers like yourselves has a smooth transition to Teams Town Halls, which is, generally where they would like everyone to use going forward. But for now, they're going to support both products and just making sure that there's effectiveness in both products. So if you wanted to read more about the announcement and what it entails, please feel free to click on that link in the slide here. Alrighty, Caroline already talked about this, but last week we had Microsoft Build. It was a great event focused on AI, Copilot announcements from the company Microsoft. So if you wanted to hear more about what that entails or read just like a top level of what the announcements were, you can check out the Microsoft Build Book of News or check out Caroline and Heather's last Mondays at Microsoft show that was premiered yesterday on the Microsoft Community LinkedIn. Next, Caroline referred to this earlier, but this is the Microsoft Community Learning YouTube channel. Not going to dwell over it since she already covered it, but feel free to click on the slides on this, the links on this slide to check out that new YouTube channel and all the previous content. Last but not least is my last slide for our Community Skills Challenge. So I do want to empower you all to get started with the Community Skills Challenge. This is actually written by our lovely Caruana, so feel free to add color here that I didn't add. But you can earn your badge, build your skills in this challenge where you can get your fundamentals on how on introductory Microsoft 365 content, the user enablement framework, as well as how to basically get AI ready. So again, feel free to take the challenge. I believe it goes until August 1st, if I'm not wrong. And we would love to see you all display your badges. All right. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Caruana.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Tiffany. I am going to go over for all of you today the Copilot Success Kit. And the elements that we have memorialized in the content that we've created for Copilot for Microsoft 365. But the most important thing about the Copilot Success Kit is it's not just for Copilot. Any of you who've been doing user enablement work or adoption work, running champion programs for any period of time, know how important the people side of technology implementations are. Microsoft hasn't always known that. Sometimes my lovely colleagues at Microsoft are very enamored with the features that they have worked so hard to bring to you. And with good reason, and I understand that. But with the advent of AI, all across the company, people have now really had a moment of enlightenment, their own aha moment about the importance of user enablement and the work that we do. And I'm very proud of that. I'm very happy that the work that I've been doing for 20 years, and all of you have been doing for a very long time, has now been instantiated within this new Microsoft 365 enablement framework. And I'm going to go over the elements of that today and discuss it. But I just really wanted to acknowledge the fact that this hard work that we all do in the champions area is so important. And it's really critical in this era of AI. All of the materials that I'm going to refer to today can be found on adoption.microsoft.com, WAC Copilot. And if you are even remotely thinking about doing anything in this AI era with this tool, I highly recommend this page. Jesse and the team do a spectacular job of keeping it updated with all of the new information that's coming out. It is what we call a microsite. So it is a hub for all the information that comes from Microsoft Learn, from all the different groups across Microsoft, as well as news and announcements, all in one place. So you can see a theme here that we are really trying to make this simpler for folks to find the information that they need. And it's just, they've done a wonderful, wonderful job on this. The information that I'm sharing today has also been instantiated into a new class, MS 4007. It actually replaces my original adoption specialist course that I wrote over the holidays, I want to say 5 or 6 years ago, and now is in this MS 4007. So definitely go and take that course, get the badge, because one thing is for sure. While there are many, many technologists around the universe at this moment ready to build technical skills, there are not nearly enough user enablement specialists in the industry right now. It is an extremely important role. It is a role that's recognized by many companies, and we will continue to help companies recognize how important user enablement specialists are. And so you should have the badge and put it on your LinkedIn profile. Go do that over this coming weekend, because I also designed it in such a way that you can do it pretty quickly, but still have all of the seminal information. All right, let's talk about the 5 drivers of AI readiness. This slide and insight comes from a woman named Susan Ettlinger inside Microsoft, who conducted a study with many companies who had begun their AI journey with Copilot, but also more broadly with Azure OpenAI services and other AI capabilities. And you can get the full information on our page, Leading in the Era of AI. But what was determined was that there were these 5 drivers for a company to be ready to embark upon the AI journey. And you'll notice they're not all technical. There's business strategy, how are you handling your data estate with your technology and data strategy? Why do you want to use AI, right? How are you going to grow your business with AI capabilities, as well as, have efficiencies and what have you? But you notice our pillar there, organization and culture, super, super important. Having a vision, a model, building a learning culture, and then, of course, governance. So this is the foundation for what we call AI readiness in any organization. And there's a journey involved to becoming AI powered as an organization. It has 3 key pillars: leadership, human change, and technical skill, all built on the foundation of responsible AI principles. If you haven't checked out our responsible AI principles site for Microsoft, highly encourage that you do so. It has many great resources where you can create your own responsible AI principles in your own organization. And if this broader initiative is not your accountability, you can share these insights with the people who are leading AI in your organization. Bring them to our courses, have them watch my keynote and the keynotes from Microsoft 365 conference. Use the resources that are available on the Leading in the Era of AI page that talks about how to set up an AI council and how to do these leadership activities and skill them up right, along the way, because we're all learning right now. Nobody knows how to do this. Those of us inside Microsoft are a little bit further ahead, but we are learning with you. But these pillars and having them on equal footing is very important. If you'll note, between this slide and this one here, you will see that we have elevated in our documentation and in our approaches this very important technology, the user enablement workstream. It is not a bolt-on to technical readiness. It is not an afterthought. It has equal value, equal weight, and can equally create the success or failure of your AI readiness journey. Right. And so this is also another very important message to get to leadership in your organization, because many times people will really focus on funding the technical skilling and the work that needs to be done, or they think user enablement is an email and a couple of training classes, and that's not what it is. And so these essentials, this is the way that we are teaching Copilot implementation around the world. And this Microsoft 365 implementation methodology is not just for Copilot, as I mentioned. You will see it moving into new teams, to Planner, to all of the new experiences that we have coming over the course of the next 18 months. It will take my team that long to work with all the other teams across Microsoft to get it instantiated and all the other materials, but you will see it coming there soon. There are essentials for Copilot success, which all of you will recognize from all the work that we have done over the years, right? Having an active sponsor, right? Somebody who is not just making a purchase decision, but is willing to be active and visible, to speak on behalf of the initiative and clarify the vision, to communicate and be active with people along the journey of the project is very important. And then understanding your business scenarios, also important. One of the things that's different about Copilot, and you'll see in the Copilot Success Kit, we have broken this down into phases. And as we've done so, we've shown the foundational elements of user enablement or technology implementation, and then what's different for Copilot throughout the Copilot Success Kit. And one of the things that is different about Copilot is that it's not wise to just dribble out some licenses to a few, 25 or 100 people across a few different departments. You really need to have a cohort of people who onboard together, who work closely together already. And so that's why the scenarios are even more important, because you need that center of gravity for them to start learning, because the feedback cycles are so much more rapid in AI than they are in anything we've done before. And then, of course, security, data privacy, Microsoft 365 tenant governance and administration. This is the third element for success that's absolutely critical as you move forward. I will tell you that that this slide here, which seems to, Tiffany, are you seeing my 4-pillar slide, or is it white for you?
I was seeing it, and then it's white now.
Okay, let's go back one more time. Let's try this again. Okay, you should be seeing the 4-pillar slide at this point, correct?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, fantastic. All right. For some reason, it's white for me, but I know the 4 pillars. This is a test. This is a test of whether or not I know my 4 pillars, and I most definitely do. The 4 pillars that are shown here in the Copilot for Microsoft 365 enablement framework, once again, are essential in that they are not Copilot specific. So getting ready, onboarding and engaging, delivering impact, and extend and optimize. And this is the first time in my history of working in and around Microsoft for more than 30 years that user enablement work and technical readiness work were on the same slide. And with the same level of importance. And again, this is a tremendous move forward in Microsoft's understanding of this work. But again, it's something that many of you already knew. But to have this really baked into the implementation summary at this executive level is important. And you'll see here in these 4 pillars, the critical actions that need to be taken in each work stream, right? And so while we have a full project plan included in the Copilot Success Kit, and there's many more details under each of these segments, you can make this as simple or as complex as your organization needs, because this very much depends upon on the size of your organization. When you take a look at how Microsoft does it, how Microsoft does IT, the story that they have, pardon me, is very much different because there's, 190,000 employees at Microsoft. And so what we have to do to roll something out is very different if you have 500 or 5,000 people. So we want you to feel confident in being able to expand or collapse these activities based on the size and nature of your organization. But there are core activities that everyone should do. And that is how we've broken down this information as we have gone through it. And again, I'm taking the highlight slides from the Copilot Success Kit. This Success Kit is quite large. And it does have many components to it, but it is worth studying, if only to go through and then understand what to pull out. And when you have questions, you bring them to us and we will help you. Because ultimately, what you're doing here is you're taking people through a user journey. And again, couldn't be happier that the research that my team and others have done, and the research coming from our actual research department, has come together to create this seminal slide. This may be the most important picture I have ever curated in my time here at Microsoft, to really show that we must now focus on the emotions and the mental state of our business users as we're taking them through a program like this, whether it's Copilot again or any other technology implementation. Because a person's emotional state, their mental state when you're trying to teach them something, is absolutely critical in their ability to adapt and retain the information. You must be relaxed. You have to be in a state of trust, actually, to learn something new. And so how you're feeling influences how you're thinking and then how you act. And the feel, think, act model has been around for 40 years, longer than I've been in this business, in a behavior modification standpoint. And so applying it to technology and understanding that what is happening to people when you're first talking about this new technology is, first, they're wondering, why should they care? Why should they give you their attention? It's important to remember that in technology, we have let people down in the past. We have promised them transformation only to give them confusion. We have promised them that we would help only to make their lives more difficult. And so now we're talking to them about AI, something that they only heard about in scary science fiction movies and Skynet and Terminator. And we're saying that this is going to help them. And so we have to re-earn their trust. When we do, they start to think about how they will use it. And this is important right here. This purple box is so important because with Copilot and AI experiences, you must get that user, whoever they are, to their own personal aha moment. I had one myself when I realized, I don't have to take notes anymore. Copilot's going to take my action items for me in meetings. That has freed up so much of my brain power when I'm in meetings to actually focus on the people who are there. And that is the purpose of AI. It frees us from doing things so that we can actually focus on each other. It is not there to replace us. It is there to ride alongside us so that we can focus on each other. And if you're lucky, you'll get past this how will I use it into how will we use it and when. And of course, people need to be able to get help if they need it, which is why a community of practice and champions are so essential. And then how can you do more? If you're really, really doing a great job, you're moving people through this into how can I do more and what's next, right? And you're imbuing them with some enthusiasm for this, right? And then all of you are taking that next step. How can you share your success, right? And how can you enhance your profession with this technology and this skill? So understanding this emotional and physical journey and knowing where people are also lets you tailor your actions to them. I actually have an entire model around micro actions for each emotional state and what have you. It was a little too geeky for some people at the beginning, so we up-leveled it and simplified it into this journey. But I will be sharing that in the more advanced courses that we're writing on Microsoft Learn. But making sure you're getting people to that aha moment is the primary goal of a technology implementation plan, and realizing that folks need to be relaxed. They need to be in a state of trust. They cannot feel anxiety. This is why the sponsor communicating what AI is going to be for in the company is incredibly important, because the first thing people think when they hear about AI in a company is this a threat to me? Is this a threat to my job? And AI is here to make our jobs better. And so this workforce transformation and skilling process is a huge part of leading in the era of AI. I talked about the executive sponsors again, the ABCs of sponsorship. Some of you will recognize this. This might be new to some of you. Active, visible, and consistent participation, building a coalition with their peers, and communicating directly with employees. If your program sponsor aren't doing the ABCs, it's time for a conversation, right? To ask for their help, to lean in more, or potentially to find a different one. I'm really thrilled about the stakeholder management tools that we have upgraded and included in the Community Success Kit, including a spreadsheet that allows you to chart the influence that various people in your organization are going to have on your project. I recommend you keep that document very closely held, but I definitely recommend you do it, because sometimes the people who can influence your project more are actually on the third ring out. They actually aren't directly involved, but they can influence your project at the water cooler or in the boardroom very intensely. So someone needs to manage those folks and their understanding of what you're doing. Again, throughout the Copilot Success Kit, you will see the slides that have what's called a shared activity icon at the top. And what we're saying here is there's a lot of activity throughout the implementation plan that we have for Copilot that must be done with the technical skilling team, right? The idea is that you have to come together on a regular basis to implement this technology successfully. And so doing this shared planning with the technical team is absolutely critical to your success. And if you don't know your IT leaders, if they don't know you, go build a relationship, have a virtual coffee, or take them out to lunch if you're physically in the same place. But building relationships is critical to success, and I would say a power skill of anyone who is a user enablement specialist or seeks to become a global user enablement person like myself, right, in those advanced levels. My people skills are equally important to my technology, my business solution architect skills. And that's why in the Community Skills Challenge, we've also included those types of courses. There's the basics of M365, but there's also power skill courses in there to build your abilities to negotiate and actively listen and things of that nature. Very, very important as you go through this work. Wouldn't be a success kit without talking about champions. Of course, we're talking about building a champions program and what that means. And one of the chief lessons every time we teach this that we've shared is a community of practice and a community of champions is as successful as its leaders. It is the people who make these communities thrive. It is the champions always posting content, hosting office hours, answering people's questions that make that community of practice, whether it's in Viva Engage or some other tool, really sing. And so recognizing that this is a profession, it is a discipline, and it is a skill set that is absolutely critical to the success of technology implementations, as referenced in our champions communities, is essential. And of course, you don't have to call them champions, right? You could call them something else that's more resonant with your own culture. But we call you champions because, we are the champions. And I, too, have the song in my head. From a technical skilling perspective, you want to perform that Copilot for Microsoft 365 optimization assessment. This is a wizard that is available online that people can do. And it's worth mentioning here that our friends in Fast Track will help for free you prepare for and deploy a Copilot for Microsoft 365. If you have more than 150 seats, they are available to help you. I highly recommend that people take advantage of that free help, even if you have your own technical team, because we are trained for this. We do this at scale. We do this every day. And we're very used to the administration tools and the nuances that are involved in this. Fast Track focuses on the technical skilling component, but they can also help you deploy the components of Microsoft Viva that are absolutely essential and so helpful in deploying and managing a Copilot deployment. That you might feel like, oh, now I have to do Viva on top of Copilot, but really you should be using Viva anyway to understand insights about user behavior, to communicate with people with Viva Amplify, and to be using Viva Engage at the very least to be creating those communities of practice that people can come together and you can really transform the culture, right? Because again, this goes back to culture. Do you have a learning culture? Is there a shame-free place that people can ask questions as necessary? We've also deployed the Copilot Scenario Library, another set of fantastic work by Jesse and the team and our friends in the marketing department who authored a lot of the content. And this scenario library, I'm really, really proud of this because it is an interactive tool that you can use with your own leaders or yourself to get inspiration about how to measure the importance of Copilot and Copilot capabilities in different departments in your organization. It gives an example of the KPIs you should be measuring so you know what to measure. That's often a question that leadership brings, but it also gives you downloadable slides of step-by-step guidance of the steps that someone can take to use these skills in that scenario, in that department. And those slides are editable. Right? This goes to our theory, never start from scratch. On adoption@microsoft.com and in these meetings right here, we provide you with all of these slides that you can use in your own environment. And so you can tweak them any way that you want that is relevant to your own policies and processes. You should not have to start from scratch. There's just way too many of us inside Microsoft who make our living making beautiful slides of information that's important. But you need to edit it, right, often, or maybe change the colors or the branding, put your own spin on it. Some of the most successful champion leaders I've ever met have a workflow where they always take our slides, whether they come to the meeting or not, they take our slides, they review the recording, and then they put them into their own champion briefing that they do every month. So that is definitely necessary, but I really want you to understand the scenario library and go through it and use it as a demonstration tool with your leaders. Hey, you're my marketing leader. Take a look at where we think AI can help you. Does any of this resonate for you? Are these KPIs that matter to you? Because if they're not, you'll also get them to give you feedback on what matters to them. And again, going back to those active listening skills that you need in user enablement. Because what you're trying to do is you take people through this pillar of onboard and engage is land that personal aha moment, that individual value that people can get from Copilot helping with your inbox, helping with meetings, helping find and create information. But then you want to move pretty quickly into departmental value. How does marketing use this? How does HR use this? How is the company leaning into this to create more value in the company? And which is, of course, the top of this, these advanced skills as you get into extending and expanding Copilot in the fourth pillar, which also includes things like Copilot Studio and many of the things that we announced at Build last week, I should say, with regard to team Copilots. And there are over 1,300 connectors that you can use in Copilot Studio to connect Copilot to your own data stores. And that is the ultimate goal when Copilot is working with your own data, not just the data found via the graph in Microsoft 365. So this is the journey that folks are on. And again, frankly, I would say that anytime you're rolling out technology, this slide applies to the new teams, right? What does is the individual value people get from working in teams? What is the departmental collaboration and productivity value they get from it? And how does the organization really use collaboration tools in an appropriate way to be effective and to have them be a competitive differentiator? That's that conversation you need to be having about any technology in your organization. And to make sure that you are on track, every month you should be conducting a service health review. And I will tell you that the number of organizations that I have seen doing service health reviews really well is sadly pretty small. Service health reviews are a judgment-free zone where user enablement leaders, business leaders, and technology leaders come together to share information, both risks and success stories about the implementation at hand. And it must be chaired by someone who knows how to keep that positive energy going, who knows how to gather out and is comfortable resolving some of the tensions and conflicts that may happen as an organization is dealing with incidents or disappointments of the technology. This information, the results of a service health review, is then handed off to your organization's AI council. And that summary information is used so the AI council can be creating a long-term strategy. And you can have service health reviews be incredibly formal. I've conducted ones myself inside Microsoft that were actually pretty formal. I've also been parts of ones that were very informal, but really dynamic in terms of the information being shared and the relationships that were built. So again, you see up here at the top that we have the shared activity icon here. This is not just user enablement. It needs to bring everyone together. I know that was a lot of information and I went through reasonably quickly. We do have customer hub sessions that are available that you can register for and view that were previously recorded. I do go through this in more depth in my keynote for Microsoft 365 conference, and I'm sure you'll hear me talk about all of it again as we continue to publish and record content around all of the components of the Copilot Success Kit. But as I wrap up my section, any technology implementation is really about the people. We continue to put people first in our strategic view of the way that we think about Copilot or any other tool. Technology is a tool. It is additional capability that comes to me as the human. If you listen to Satya Nadella talk about this online anywhere, he will tell you that he finds it unfortunate. We call it artificial intelligence. He would prefer it be different intelligence because it is coming to what I am bringing to it. The most important factor in the era of AI, the most powerful thing in the area of AI is all of you. Is us collectively as a society, but most especially all of you in the user enablement area, right? We are having our moment, make no mistake. People understand how powerful it is, the work that we do. So make sure you get your badge. Use this also as a moment in your career to identify yourself as one of the people who understands how to lead in the era of AI. You can lead from anywhere you are. It doesn't matter what your title is. It only matters that you really embrace the opportunity in front of us, because more than the rise of the internet or the rise of Office 365 or any other rise of anything, including the PC that I've been involved in my career, this is going to change things on a permanent basis. And so our ability to adapt and learn and stay the course and be mindful about how we do this work and really help others is going to ensure that these AI capabilities are a benefit to our organizations, to our society, but also to ourselves and our careers and the families that we all are a part of. And so I'm really excited to do this work. If you can't tell, I really love what I do. I love the people that I get to work with. My team is spectacular. And we'll be doing more together on this as we go forward. And that is my presentation, Tiffany.
Thank you so much, Caruana. Everyone's saying that your presentation has to be a part of that course that everyone should take, because then they will truly understand.
It will be. V2. Stay tuned for V2.
All right. Well, I have a couple slides, and then I'm sure a lot of people are chomping at the bits to ask you some of their live questions. But let's go for it. So next, our upcoming community events next week at TechCon 365 PWRCon in Seattle. We're gonna have a community booth there, and you can catch Caruana, Heather, and myself and Jesse will also be in and out helping out. So feel free to catch us there. We also have some upcoming exciting conferences in the European Power Platform Conference in Belgium, our Microsoft 365 Community Days in Chicago, as well as New York, where Caruana will be at, and of course our Experts Lab Europe in Budapest, Hungary. So if you want to have your event listed in any of these upcoming either community produced events or community led events, depending on what kind of event you have, feel free to check out communitydays.org for a more full list, as well as the opportunity for us to promote your call here. All right. So our next call is on June 25th, and we are going to be talking about maximizing your AI transformation with Microsoft Copilot, investments in enabling your admins, adoption managers, senior leaders to drive user enablement, satisfaction, and impact. So we are going to be joined by Samer, who you may all remember from last year, may not, on our Copilot for more admins, and as well as, of course, senior leaders and users as well, but more so from an admin perspective on really how to maximize that AI transformation. So feel free to join us there. He's going to have some great content that you will see. And then last but not least, please fill out our feedback today on today's call. If you like Caruana today, of course you did. Hopefully you did, because I do see a lot of positive feedback. Feel free to give us feedback on today's call or future calls of what you would like to see at ak.ms/Microsoft 365 Champions Call feedback. All right. Now, without further ado, we can turn on our mics and your cameras. And if you would like to ask Caruana your question, feel free to use that hand raise feature so we can call your name in order.
While we're doing that, I first want to say thank you for all the positive feedback. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you very much. If I'm ever feeling badly, I'll come present here and you all make me feel awesome.
Yes. Don't wait too long to come back, Caruana.
I won't. Once a quarter. That's my commitment. Once a quarter, Tiffany. All right. We have a question from Pat Mason, depending on where you are in the world.
Yeah, Mason is fine. Yeah. So, hey, thanks very much. So what is the best recommendation for prompt sharing for a large organization that's only going to use Copilot for the web, not 365 necessarily? So do you guys like Prompt Buddy, or what do you recommend for sharing prompts just for Copilot for the web?
There is on GitHub, the Power Platform team published a prompt library that is a free solution that you can install and include in your organization. That is the one that I know of. Of course, Copilot Lab is thinking about getting those capabilities, and we're also thinking about putting that into the scenario library. But I really feel like Prompt Buddy forgive me, Jesse, you probably know the actual name of that solution from April and her team. We have a link to it on the Copilot Hub, but that is what I would recommend. The other thing too is, certainly you can use simple tools like SharePoint or just have people publish them in, your Viva Engage community. But if you really want to store them and share them and have them as a resource, I definitely recommend that GitHub project, because the team's still working on it. They're still enhancing it. And we'll find that link for you and put it in the chat.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Adam, you're next. Adam Arthur.
All of this sounds amazing, and I really want to engage. However, I work for government, which often feels like an afterthought coming from Microsoft, honestly. And has it ever been discussed or considered that an entirely separate program be set up for the GCC implementers and or users that, kind of gives us, works with our schedule, because we're always behind.
Yes.
With some of the features we get and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's my question. I just want to throw that out there and see if that's something that might be on the radar for you folks. Thanks.
It absolutely is on the radar. My team does public sector as well. I have a huge soft spot in my heart for everyone in GCC, GCC High, and the DoD. And I've done a lot of government work over time. And so there's two things. There is a public sector community that already exists out there on the Microsoft Tech community. But we have talked about having separate champion calls or calls specific for government. And it's something that we are going to be looking into over the next half. So that's the Microsoft half. Our fiscal year starts in July. And we just need to pull a bunch of people in to curate that content. The other thing I will say about folks in GCC is we are super focused on what we call simultaneous ship. Simultaneously shipping features to commercial and GCC at the same time. GCC High and DoD are always going to come later. You're absolutely right, because of the compliance and complexity that's there. But really trying to bring features closer together for those two is something that is a huge focus of our president, Jeff Teeper, and happens in every one of our service health reviews that each product has to go through each month. So, but it's a good call out to once again talk about Jesse and Tiffany, and for the benefit of our co-pilot notes, we should talk about that again and see what our colleagues over in public sector and the folks over there want to do for y'all in coming months. Good call out, Adam, for sure.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Absolutely. Next is Walter. Hi, Walter. You're on air.
Hi, Caruana. Thank you so much for all the good work that has been done around Copilot, the adoption kit, the resource packs, and the Copilot lab. We're actually deploying Copilot, and we're using all of it. So this is probably one of the best deployments that I have seen, in my 20-year career coming from Microsoft. So great job there. My question is around the presentation that we have been tasked to do. So we are planning to complete the deployment around middle of June. Any ideas what we could do to build on the excitement? One of the things that we're thinking about is, the Surface laptops that are coming with the Copilot chip, the NPU, but that is a little bit further out. So we can't quite get our hands, on those yet in time for that presentation. But any ideas out there that you have, what it is that we could do to kind of propel us into the future, springing on top of that, Copilot deployment that we're going to be completing would be helpful.
Oh, yes. I most definitely have ideas there, and they start with your own business users. You should be gathering up and potentially filming or bringing to the stage the success stories of people who have used Copilot in different scenarios that match your business objectives. It's really important that you highlight the people who are doing great work with the new tool. And that also gives you the ability to think about how to expand and extend your Copilot deployments with custom Copilots and work in Copilot Studio. But there is no replacement for highlighting success stories. You can call them, we call them the Spotlight series. You can call them whatever works for you. And then you could also have some gamification and a little competition about people being able to vote up the most helpful prompts, things of that nature. So bring some fun, but at this phase, if you were done with your rollout, by the way, just one small tweak, you're never done with a Copilot implementation because there's always more skills to build in your workforce, right? And really bringing that home to your workforce, that the real skill that you're delivering is adaptive and continuous learning. That is so important. So when your executives and your sponsors get up there and they do this presentation, make sure they're landing that message, highlight the people who have been doing that, and then bring some fun, right? Bring some gamification, bring a little bit of competition if that works in your organization. But, continuous learning is never over. That is the message. Fantastic. Matt.
Thank you, long-time listener, first-time caller. Just a quick question. We are actually rolling out a Copilot pilot, and we're finding, as we have the Microsoft Copilot users, we're finding a lot of things inside of SharePoint, or a lot of oversharing, and I'm just wondering how Microsoft has dealt with, hey, some of these users might should not have access to this information. We're
Yes.
trying to do some kind of cleanup thing, but that kind of opened up a big security, like, holy moly, these, you guys you should not be having access to some of these things that Copilot can find. So I'm just wondering how,
Yes.
process wise, you guys might be going through those things.
It's actually in the Get Ready pillar of the technical readiness workstream and is a part of the optimization wizard that I referred to briefly in the presentation. There are some reports that can be run so that you can identify those oversharing scenarios. There are recommended mitigation capabilities that you can do. But definitely you should, as you do this pilot, that is the purpose of that early adopter motion, is to find these things and really get your data estate in order before you go more broadly. And from a recommendations perspective, there's nothing more important than what the AI is grounding itself on from a knowledge standpoint. And it only has access to what the users have access to. So if there's problems in those ACLs and those access control segments that have been put out, then you will have difficulty. So run the wizard. The wizard will generate reports. There's also reports in the admin center that you can use to identify those problems and lock that down again correctly before you go further. This is a quick plug also for your information architecture. Your information architecture, what are the authoritative sites in your internet that have information that everyone should have access to, and what are team related sites or department related sites? Susan Hanley and other MVPs have been talking about that for a long time. So have I, and it is absolutely important as you get ready to move in Copilot. So I'm glad you found it in your pilot, but we do have some tools available. So if you download the Success Kit and look in the technical readiness guide, you'll find the steps for that. And of course, more is coming on that soon. Excellent. I think I got time for one last question. Anne.
Yes, can you hear me? Sorry,
Yes,
having a bit of difficulties. Hi, we are in the process of implementing Copilot, and a lot of people are taking it to their hearts. We are doing training, and I'm part of the user adoption team. But one question that I've actually received, and I also wrote it in the chat, which is something that I definitely cannot answer. We are a company that focuses a lot on green energy consumption. And there have been in the media here in Denmark a lot about ChatGPT and all of these AI tools that they are actually consuming an extremely not loud, but a large amount of energy. So how is Microsoft dealing with that? Because I tried to dig a little bit deeper into it on your SharePoint site, your website, to see if you do have something about this, because I start getting these questions, is it green? Is it so it's Absolutely. Not as much to the technology, but what energy the technology actually consumes. So that was more a question towards that. If you do have something on it, that would be great, because I do start getting these questions.
Absolutely. And to let Lisa know, I'm going to stay on so I'll answer your question. I realize we're at the top of the hour, but I want to say that, and yes, our sustainability commitments as a company have not changed. We already have a commitment out there to become carbon neutral, carbon negative, I believe. And I think it's 2027. Forgive me, I've forgotten. But Brad Smith, our president, has a large article on this. And so even though we have built out, GPU capability to deliver AI tools around the globe, we have not altered our sustainability goals. And actually, we're accelerating them. And so we can't speak for what OpenAI or other AI companies are doing on sustainability, but from a Microsoft perspective, our commitments remain strong. That is really important to our leadership team and to us as a company, because we recognize that that's if this isn't good for the planet as a whole, it's not good in general.
Exactly.
I think we can find you an article on our sustainability goals. And I thought that Brad Smith wrote an article on this specifically. Let me do some digging on Brad's blog. And Jesse, that would be something really good to put on the Copilot Hub if it's not there already.
I think that would be, yeah.
We can definitely do that, and that's an excellent question, Anne. Thanks for bringing that up. But you're welcome. just know that as a standard, our carbon neutral and carbon negative sustainability goals have not changed, even with the rise of this new technology, which means we are doing what we need to do to mitigate that from a data center and capacity perspective.
That's fantastic, because I do start getting the questions, and I was like, what other companies or other AI technologies are consuming. So this is really, really great that we can put that and say, you know what, we have this article, so you can read more about it. So thank you so much for elaborating.
Right. We've got the sustainability report in the chat. Yeah. There's one specific, I think, to AI. So we'll dig that up for you for sure, Anne. Thank you so much.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Anytime. Lisa, you will be my final question for this morning.
Thank you very much. I just had a quick question, I think, related to the earlier question about during a pilot discovering some oversharing, so to speak. And I noticed in a lot of the documentation that the recommendation is to switch it from the everyone within your organization to the specific user. My question is, for us, that's almost too granular, and we would like to use the everyone with existing access as our default, and that doesn't seem to be an option to choose on a tenant or global level. Is there any change for that, or how do we get to that?
Yeah, that's a really, really good point. I do not know if that is in the backlog currently. It has been an active conversation in the deployment, the Copilot Service Administration team inside Microsoft, providing access to that. There's two schools of thought. I mean, that's what I would do if I had your job, right? That's what I would want. But I also really want the actual data to have the proper access, right? And so making sure the individual is a member of the groups that have the access, right? And so this is just defaulting back to what I, as Caruana, can see inside the Microsoft tenant is what my Copilot answers will be grounded on. So it is a very safe path. And from a semantic index and technology perspective, it is utilizing those group membership to identify what I have access to. So I'm a member of the Teams engineering team, so I can see all of the executive reports that are posted there. But I'm not a member of, the Azure, engineering team, and so I don't see theirs, right? And so even though it says it's the individual, it is actually using those group memberships that are assigned to that user to be able to do it. So I understand why people in our engineering group think that is sufficient. I don't think it's super clear. I think what you're asking for is a lot more clear.
I think of it more from an owner, a workspace owner, or a site team owner that don't know all that's going on behind the scenes. What they do see is, here's the list of people that I have given access to, and I want to be able to use that to manage what people can see or not see in a broader sense in the Copilot.
Oh, but you are. So
the term specific person doesn't give you that sense. And then if I'm trying to manage my permissions and I look at my overall site permissions and I see all of those individual users listed there, people are like going, holy crap, what's going on?
But that's not the right way to do it, though. That's not at all the right way to do it. So separate what is happening in the admin center versus what is happening in the SharePoint site. The SharePoint site can still be managed with the group management methodology that we've been teaching for forever. But the admin center, as it is thinking about and reconciling what Copilot is grounded on, is defaulting back to the user. So the two things are not actually connected in that way. the way you just described. So people shouldn't be, if your users and site owners are already used to using groups to manage access to the site, as obviously we've been teaching, and the M365 groups and what have you, or the ones in SharePoint, they should just keep doing that. Right? None of that should change. But the configuration for Copilot in the admin center and where that flag actually is what is controlling the results that are coming back from Copilot. And so really it's the admins who have to understand that, not your user community, right? All you have to tell your user community, which is how I teach it every day, is Copilot is grounded on what the individual user has access to. If the user can see it, it can be used in reasoning the response to the prompt. If they don't, it can't. End of story. Most people don't need to know any more than that because, frankly, it's super confusing. And so, we have to understand it, but your user community and your site admins do not really.
Okay. Yeah, we're still kind of unraveling that, because what we want to be able to do is for the site owners that it's automatically the default to just existing members. When one of their people share, that it automatically is only sharing or only option to shares with the existing people.
In the SharePoint Admin Center, you can set that default. If you're talking about sharing links, sorry, go ahead.
You can't. I was just saying, at least what I see in the Admin Center, you have a choice between like everyone in the world and everyone within your community and specific people. And the choice of saying the default sharing for a site to be
in the
for
SharePoint
everyone.
Admin Center. I'm sorry, I was misunderstanding your question. That is on the backlog. That is on the backlog in the SharePoint Admin Center. Yes, that is on.
Yay.
But probably I would give it a guess as to fall before Ignite. A lot of our new features are being pushed out to that time. We'll deliver by that time, if not sooner. That has been a huge piece of feedback in the SharePoint Admin Center for people. And so that, I mistook what you were saying. Sorry about that. But yeah,
no, thank
absolutely.
You. Just the fact that it's on the backlog and just known.
Definitely.
Yay.
Yay. Good. Okay, fantastic. Tiffany and Jesse, I have to drop for another session. Thank you so much for running another awesome call. Really appreciate it. And I will be back next quarter.
Thank you so much, everyone. A big round of applause for you. Really appreciate your time, and as well as just the community also appreciates your time in answering their questions. So, all right. Well, we'll see you next quarter. Thank you, Caruana.
Bye.